When we consider the health of the knees, especially after 60, one of the most crucial factors is the strength and activation of the quadriceps, the large muscles at the front of the thigh. These muscles are not only responsible for straightening the knee, they act as a primary support system for the joint, absorbing the forces that occur every time we walk, rise from a chair, climb stairs, or carry weight. Over decades of life, these muscles can gradually weaken, often without our awareness. Because modern routines frequently reduce the need for full extension of the knees, sitting for long periods, using chairs instead of squatting, and relying on elevators or escalators subtly diminish the engagement of these muscles. The consequence is that when strength is needed, the knee joint bears more of the load directly, placing stress on ligaments, tendons, and cartilage that can accumulate over time. The seated leg extension is a simple but remarkably effective way to counteract this gradual weakening. By sitting upright with your feet planted and slowly extending the leg until the knee is straight, the quadriceps contract fully while the knee is unloaded, providing controlled resistance without the risk of falling or overstraining the joint. Holding the leg in this extended position for a few seconds before lowering it back down encourages not only strength but also endurance, training the muscle fibers to sustain contraction over time. This is critical because functional activities, such as standing up from a low chair, walking longer distances, or balancing on one leg, require muscles that can generate force steadily rather than briefly. Beyond muscle activation, this movement has important effects on circulation. Contraction of the quadriceps squeezes nearby blood vessels, promoting the flow of oxygen-rich blood into the muscle and surrounding tissues while helping to carry away metabolic waste. This increased circulation nourishes the knee joint, supporting the synovial fluid that lubricates the articulating surfaces and helps maintain cartilage health. For adults over 60, maintaining this local circulation is essential for reducing stiffness, promoting joint resilience, and enhancing overall mobility. It is a subtle yet profound way that's simple. Daily movements can influence the long-term health of a complex joint like the knee. The exercise also engages the nervous system in a meaningful way. Each time the quadriceps contract, sensory receptors in the muscle and joint send feedback to the brain, providing information about tension, joint angle, and load. The brain integrates this information and adjusts the pattern of activation for optimal movement, improving coordination and reinforcing neural pathways that help the body move safely. Over time, this consistent feedback loop enhances the body's ability to stabilize the knee during functional activities, reducing the risk of sudden twists or missteps that can lead to injury. In addition, the seated leg extension reinforces proper alignment. By consciously controlling the motion from the hip through the knee to the ankle, the joint learns to track correctly during flexion and extension. This alignment minimizes uneven stress on the ligaments and cartilage, which can slow degeneration and reduce discomfort. The movement encourages the body to remember its natural mechanics, gently reminding muscles, joints, and the nervous system how to function together harmoniously. Repeated daily, this simple action accumulates quietly over time, restoring strength and stability to a joint that is central to independence. The quadriceps regain the ability to absorb force, support balance, and allow smooth, controlled motion. In this way, a single seated leg extension does far more than build muscle. It retrains the body, engages the nervous system, and nurtures joint health in a way that supports functional, confident movement throughout the day. Another essential movement for protecting and strengthening the knees after 60 focuses on the hamstrings, the muscles along the back of the thigh that work in delicate harmony with the quadriceps. While the quadriceps straighten the knee, the hamstrings allow it to bend and absorb shock, creating balance around the joint. Over time, these muscles often weaken due to prolonged sitting, limited walking, or insufficient engagement in daily routines. When the hamstrings are underactive, the knee loses part of its dynamic support, forcing ligaments and cartilage to bear more strain. This imbalance can lead to discomfort, stiffness, or even increased risk of injury during everyday movements. The seated hamstring curl, performed while sitting in a chair, is a gentle and effective way to reawaken these muscles while respecting the limits of aging joints. To perform the movement, the foot is lifted slightly from the floor, bending the knee so that the heel moves toward the chair. This action activates the hamstrings without placing excessive weight on the joint. It is controlled and deliberate, emphasizing slow contraction and release rather than speed or force. By doing so, the exercise encourages both strength and coordination. The hamstrings contract, providing a stabilizing pull on the knee, while the nervous system receives continuous feedback about the position and tension of the joint. This loop between muscles and nerves improves proprioception, the body's internal sense of where it is in space, which is critical for maintaining balance and avoiding sudden missteps. The seated hamstring curl also has systemic benefits that extend beyond muscle activation. Each contraction stimulates blood flow to the posterior thigh and surrounding tissues, enhancing circulation to the knee joint itself. This increased flow brings oxygen and nutrients to the area while removing metabolic waste, supporting the health of tendons, ligaments, and cartilage. For older adults, maintaining adequate circulation and nutrient delivery to the knee is vital, as these tissues naturally recover more slowly and are more vulnerable to degeneration. Repeated gentle stimulation helps preserve tissue elasticity and joint mobility, reducing stiffness over time. From a functional perspective, the exercise mirrors movements used in everyday life. Bending the knee to lift the heel is a motion engaged during walking, climbing stairs, and shifting weight from one leg to another. By practicing it in a controlled seated position, the muscles relearn the proper activation pattern necessary for these daily tasks. This reinforcement is particularly important for adults over 60, as neuromuscular coordination tends to decline with age. The more the nervous system is prompted to coordinate muscles around the knee, the more stable and confident movements become, reducing the likelihood of falls or strains. Moreover, the hamstring curl encourages joint alignment. I'm engaging the posterior thigh muscles. The movement balances the pull of the quadriceps, preventing the knee from being excessively pulled forward and reducing uneven stress on ligaments and cartilage. This balance is crucial for long-term joint health. It distributes forces evenly across the knee during flexion and extension. The simple seated hamstring curl therefore strengthens the muscles, engages the nervous system, promotes circulation, and nurtures proper joint mechanics, all while being safe and accessible. Over weeks and months of consistent practice, these gentle curls quietly build resilience. The hamstrings regain strength, coordination improves, and the knee becomes better supported during daily life. By targeting this often neglected muscle group, the exercise restores balance to the knee joint, enhancing comfort, mobility, and confidence in everyday movement, proving that even small seated actions can have profound effects on joint health and functional independence. Another crucial movement for maintaining knee health after 60 focuses on the ankle and lower leg. Often overlooked, yet profoundly important for knee stability and overall mobility. The ankle and knee work together as part of a kinetic chain, meaning that the alignment, strength, and mobility of one joint directly influence the other. When the ankles are stiff or underactive, the knees must compensate, often bearing uneven forces that can lead to discomfort, strain, or gradual degeneration. Simple seated ankle movements, such as flexion and extension or gentle circles, may seem minor, but they stimulate the muscles, tendons, and ligaments of the lower leg, while improving circulation, proprioception, and joint coordination. When performing ankle flexion, the toes are drawn toward the body, activating the tibialis anterior, the muscle running along the front of the shin. This muscle plays a vital role in lifting the foot during walking, controlling how the heel strikes the ground, and stabilizing the ankle when weight shifts. Its engagement supports the knee indirectly because a controlled foot and ankle reduce erratic movements higher up the leg. Conversely, pointing the toes away from the body engages the calves, including the gastrocnemius and soleus muscles, which cross the knee joint and assist in both stabilization and controlled motion. Each deliberate contraction and release strengthens these muscles, improving the knee's ability to bear weight with balance and coordination. Circling the ankles in slow, controlled motions further enhances flexibility and stimulates sensory feedback. The tendons, ligaments, and joint capsules of both the ankle and lower leg receive gentle mobilization, helping to maintain the smooth range of motion necessary for daily activities. At the same time, the nervous system is actively engaged. Sensory receptors in the feet and ankles communicate continuously with the brain, transmitting information about position, tension, and movement. This input reinforces neuromuscular coordination, training the body to respond quickly to shifts in balance or terrain. Over time, these subtle signals enhance proprioception, which is essential for preventing falls and maintaining stability in older adults. Another benefit of seated ankle exercises is their effect on circulation and joint nutrition. Muscle contractions compress nearby blood vessels, helping to pump oxygen-rich blood toward the feet and legs while assisting in the removal of metabolic waste. This increased blood flow supports the synovial fluid within the knee and ankle joints, which is responsible for lubrication and nutrient transport to cartilage. Maintaining this microcirculation reduces stiffness, preserves tissue elasticity, and supports overall joint resilience, allowing the knees and ankles to function more smoothly in combination. From a functional standpoint, strengthening and mobilizing the ankles also reinforces natural movement patterns. During walking, standing, or shifting weight, the ankle acts as the body's first line of adjustment. A stable and responsive ankle allows the knee to track correctly, minimizing unnecessary strain on ligaments, tendons, and cartilage. Even in a seated position, repetitive and mindful ankle movements train these patterns, teaching the lower leg and knee to work harmoniously together. Over weeks of consistent practice, these seated ankle exercises quietly enhance joint coordination, muscular activation, and blood flow. The knees benefit indirectly through improved alignment, force distribution, and neuromuscular feedback. What appears to be a small, simple movement becomes a foundational exercise, strengthening the kinetic chain from the foot to the thigh. Supporting balance, stability, and confident mobility in daily life, proving that even gentle seated actions can have profound effects on joint health and functional independence. Another essential exercise for maintaining strong and healthy knees after 60 involves engaging the hip muscles to provide stability and support for the knee joint. Often overlooked, the hips are central to proper leg alignment, balance, and coordinated movement. As we age, hip muscles such as the gluteus medius, gluteus maximus, and the deep external rotators can weaken due to prolonged sitting or underuse. When the hips are weak or underactive, the knees are forced to compensate for stability and alignment, leading to uneven forces that stress ligaments, tendons, and cartilage. A simple, seated hip engagement exercise, performed gently while sitting in a chair, can strengthen these muscles, improve joint alignment, and support overall knee function without placing excessive load on the joint itself. To perform this exercise, one begins seated upright with both feet flat on the floor. Slowly lift one leg slightly off the floor while keeping the knee bent, engaging the glutes and hip stabilizers to maintain control. This movement is subtle, yet highly effective because the gluteal muscles act as the primary stabilizers for the pelvis. A stable pelvis ensures that the knee tracks correctly during flexion and extension, minimizing sideways movement that could place strain on ligaments such as the medial and lateral collateral ligaments. By strengthening these muscles, the body reinforces proper alignment and distributes forces evenly across the knee during movement. Beyond muscular engagement, this exercise stimulates the nervous system, enhancing coordination between the hip, knee, and ankle. Each lift requires the brain to interpret sensory feedback from the leg muscles, joints, and pelvis, adjusting activation patterns to maintain stability. Over time, these repeated signals reinforce neuromuscular pathways, improving the body's ability to respond to shifts in weight or unexpected changes in terrain. This is particularly important for adults over 60, as maintaining proprioception in the body's internal sense of position reduces the risk of falls and increases confidence during everyday activities. Engaging the hips in this controlled manner also encourages improved posture and spinal alignment. By activating the glutes and surrounding stabilizers, the pelvis is maintained in a neutral position, which supports the lower back and reduces compensatory strain that can extend to the knees. When the pelvis is stable, the knee is more likely to move in a natural path during extension and flexion, minimizing the uneven pressure that can lead to wear and tear on cartilage and connective tissues. The movement is gentle enough to be safe for most older adults, yet effective in reinforcing the coordination and strength needed for everyday tasks. From a circulatory perspective, activating the hip muscles also improves blood flow to the surrounding tissues, enhancing nutrient delivery and waste removal. It supports the health of both the knee and hip joints, helping maintain elasticity in muscles, ligaments, and tendons. The integration of muscular engagement, neural activation, and improved circulation makes the seated hip exercise more than a simple motion. It becomes a foundational movement that strengthens the kinetic chain of the lower body, ensuring that the knees remain supported, stable, and resilient during daily life. Over weeks of consistent practice, this exercise quietly builds the strength and coordination necessary to maintain knee health. By emphasizing hip stability and mindful control, the movement reinforces alignment, supports proper tracking of the knee joint, and encourages smooth, balanced motion. What seems like a small seated exercise develops into a powerful tool for sustaining mobility, preventing strain, and fostering confidence in movement, demonstrating that deliberate, gentle actions can profoundly influence joint health and functional independence. The fifth movement, and perhaps one of the most crucial for maintaining strong knees after 60, focuses on endurance and controlled repetition. Strength and stability are important, but muscles around the knee must also be able to sustain activation over time, especially during daily activities that require prolonged standing, walking, or gentle exertion. Without endurance, the quadriceps, hamstrings, and hip stabilizers may fatigue quickly, placing additional strain on ligaments and cartilage, increasing discomfort and reducing confidence in movement. A simple seated leg lift with gentle pulses at the top of the extension is an elegant way to develop both muscular strength and endurance simultaneously, all while remaining safe and accessible. To perform this exercise, one sits upright with feet flat on the floor, then slowly extends one leg until the knee is straight, holding briefly at full extension. Instead of lowering immediately, small controlled pulses are performed at the top of the movement, contracting the quadriceps to maintain activation. This subtle repetition challenges the muscle fibers to sustain tension, promoting endurance without the need for heavy resistance or standing exercises that could strain the joint. The prolonged engagement also strengthens the connective tissue around the knee, including tendons and ligaments, which rely on repeated activation for resilience and stability. This movement does more than develop the muscles themselves. It engages the nervous system in a way that reinforces coordination and joint control. Each pulse sends continuous feedback from the muscle spindles and joint receptors to the brain, enhancing proprioception, or the body's ability to sense position and movement. This is critical for older adults, as proprioception naturally diminishes with age, increasing the risk of missteps or instability. By repeatedly practicing controlled leg extension with endurance pulses, the brain and muscles learn to communicate efficiently, improving balance, reaction time, and confidence during standing and walking. Circulation is another important benefit. Sustained contraction of the quadriceps and hip muscles promotes blood flow to the thigh and knee region, delivering oxygen and nutrients while removing metabolic waste products. This microcirculatory stimulation supports joint health by maintaining cartilage nourishment and ligament flexibility, helping reduce stiffness and discomfort. The gentle, repeated motion also enhances lymphatic circulation, which contributes to tissue health and reduces the accumulation of fluid that can lead to swelling or discomfort in the knee area. Functionally, this exercise mirrors the demands of everyday life. Whether standing to prepare a meal, walking short distances, or stepping onto a low platform, the knees are called upon to bear weight repeatedly without fatiguing. By training endurance in a controlled, seated environment, the muscles surrounding the joint become better prepared to support these tasks, reducing strain on passive structures and allowing movement to feel smooth and effortless. The combination of strength, endurance, and neuromuscular coordination cultivated through this simple exercise has a profound effect on daily mobility. Over time, incorporating these controlled leg lifts with endurance pulses into a daily routine quietly transforms the knee's functional capacity. The muscles become stronger, more resilient, and better able to maintain activation under stress. Neuromuscular coordination improves, ensuring that the joint moves in alignment and responds effectively to shifts in balance. Even small, gentle repetitions accumulate into a powerful foundation of support, demonstrating that consistent, mindful practice can preserve knee health, enhance mobility, and restore confidence in movement at every stage of life.